Leo rising. How you doing, Leo? This is your reading for the Aquarius new moon that's happening on the 29th of January. Now, I'm recording this the day before. I apologize in getting this transit series out, but I work with 6-month cycles, so what comes through in this reading is always going to serve you over the next 6 months, so you're not missing out on anything. And the reason for the delay was because that Pisces North Node, Virgo South Node transit, I love doing it so much. It took up a lot of time. And that energy, this is the first new moon since the node shift sign. So this new moon is activating a frequency that is serving the unfolding of the north and south node, right? Even though it's not an eclipse, it is still, the lunations are linked into the north and south. Sun and moon are linked into the north and south nodes. So I really recommend checking out that series. It's wild. The work that we do this year is so powerful. It's going to transform us. I just want to stress that, right? Even if you're like, oh God, I've just been through so much work already. Trust me, the work you do this year to get back to your soul's frequency and the truth of your own reality is going to serve you. It's going to pay off. It's going to be good. And that's all linked into the Pisces Virgo axis. So this is a new moon in the sign of Aquarius opposite your sign, Leo. It's the first one with Pluto fixed in Aquarius. Hello, sorry, my name's Chloe. I work with card divination, astrology, and as you just heard, and as you can see, I channel multi-dimensional energies through my body, both in the form of physical and vocal light language. This is all going to be bringing in healing, attunement, and activation codes to the messages that want to come through in this reading. Now, I read for the rising signs. So for those of you who don't have Leo in the first house, look to the house it does fall in. Look to the themes of that house, and you want to apply those themes along with all the other meaning you've got going on in the sign of Leo to the messages that come through. Say you've got your Leo in the 5th house and you've got your sun there. You'd apply the themes of the 5th and the meaning of the sun to these messages, because it's as if that Leo energy has now energetically moved to the 1st house. Tiny bit of housekeeping. So from the new moon, from tomorrow to the Leo full moon, all readings are 50% off. Right, this is the Lunar New Year. This is this Chinese New Year. It's also the cross-quarter fire festival of Imbolc, which is the midpoint between solstices and equinoxes. I talk about all of this in the 2-part series of the collective reading. The first part was the numerology of number 9. We're in a 9 year. The wood snakes, Chinese New Year, Imbolc, the Lunar New Year. Pulled cards for all of that. Talked about a lot of that. Big energy. And then part 2 was where I broke down the astrology of this new moon in more detail. I'm going to be doing quite a quick reading here, because I want to get the messages out. So they're 50% off. And also, what else did I want to say? I've set up a separate channel. It's called Quantum Vibe Tarot. You can find it on the homepage of this one. And it's more short downloads, short transmissions, activations. I'm on camera. I'm playing with lots of decks, doing lots more channeling. It's not so linked into the astrology. I'm going to be doing two, one on the South Node in Virgo, one on the North Node in Pisces, to activate the higher, most integrated intention of that transit. So they're going to be coming out over the next week. Right, the key phrase, the key theme that came through with this Aquarius new moon is we are receiving a activation to connect us to our higher universal truth, right? Our universal perspective. And this is because this moon is conjunct not Venus, Mercury and Pluto. So Mercury is receiving a download, right? Receiving that activation from Pluto to reconnect us to our root id power, right? Without distorting anybody else's power, right? So it's really a sort of the more galactic council, high vibe frequency that is connected to, that kind of zoomed out angelic frequency that is allowing us to embody that on the 3D world. And this is acting as a support for the Pisces Virgo nodal series as well, of how to work with that and amplify it. And so this is what the main theme, and this is what I'm pulling you the 2 oracle cards first. I'm switching up a little bit. and then we'll pull some tarot. So we're figuring out, what is this download, what is this activation that Mercury's bringing in to this new moon, that is connecting us back to our universal truth. And then we're going to get some cards of how to work with it and what's the challenge. So you can apply this to any area of your chart, right? Even though I'm about to talk about the houses of where this is showing up for you, for lovely Leos, you can apply it to any area of your chart, right? It really does reverberate everywhere. So it's in your 7th house, the house of the other, right? This is about one-on-one important relationships in your life. It can be a business partner, your therapist, one-on-one clients, intimate friends, long-term committed romantic relationships, as well as your relationship with Source. Now, I happen to be a Leo rising, and I'm going to a breathwork and Qigong session with an Aquarius rising friend of mine, right? So it's that one-on-one, right, with someone, and this often happens with me and her, around the Aquarius moons that we hang out. She lives in Australia, so it's a very coincidental thing. And obviously the breath is very significant for air signs. And as I said, it's your relationship with Source, right? And how that shows up. I often find 7th house transits. If you don't have, say, like a long-term romantic relationship, or you're not spending time one-on-one in the 3D world, you'll notice that whatever transit's moving through there, say it's Mars, that your motivation, your drive, the actions that you're taking are in alignment with Source. That's 4 cards. We don't want 4 cards. The channeling I've been doing since the Pisces Virgo axis has been very mantra-like. It's quite fascinating, especially with that sort of, the universal I am of it all, right? The higher truths we then repeat to ourselves, those perspectives from Aquarius, the egalitarian future thinking understanding, of how we then have a certain phrase that we might find ourselves saying quite a lot during this cycle. For me, it's I am. Every mantra I do ends up coming back to I am. And that all, for the Leo risings out, the Leo energy, you got Aries up in the 9th house, right? That is the I am. So that might be relevant for some of you. So it's a new moon, new beginnings, universal truth around what does that mean, that 7th house mean to you? How do you show up with the 7th? How does the 7th show up with you? How do you understand yourself in regards to the 7th? Now, so often we can have certain relationships in our lives that have diminished our sense of self. And then we expect those things to repeat. Now, this energy feels very radical. It feels very like, not anymore. We're not doing this anymore. and we got the commitment. We got that higher perspective in order to implement it. So I can see activations around healthier understandings of the other. What do you really need from it? What do you want from it? How do you want to be around it? All of those things, right? So for some of you, it might be running away from that level of commitment that the 7th really does bring into focus. And what we want is a real balance, a healthy balance between the self and the other. Well, the self doesn't. That's 2 cards. We only want 1. The self doesn't need to get diminished by the other. So fresh new energy when it comes to those more committed, intimate relationships in your life. It's happening on my Jupiter, which is wild. Now, speaking of Jupiter, the only other aspect I'm going to be talking about is the fact that Jupiter is over in Gemini trine this moon. Now, Jupiter's still retrograde. It will go direct on the 4th of February. Uranus is going to go direct a day or so after this new moon. So we're going to have some big shifts, big changes. Jupiter over in your 11th of hopes and dreams, friends, groups and alliances, reaping the benefits from your 10th house. Now, Jupiter retrograde can diminish all of the outward manifestations and themes of Jupiter. And it does mean you're questioning things internally. You're figuring things out. You're figuring out, what does abundance mean to me? What does faith mean to me? What does this sense of ease of spirit, the opportunities? You've had more internal opportunities, internal awakenings in regards to your hopes and dreams. What are they? How are you going to work towards them? Maybe some have not felt like they've been manifesting because you've been doing the inner work to really get in alignment with the truth of your soul's hopes and dreams, which is you, by the way, just without all the conditioning. Friends, groups and alliances, right? So how you learn from groups, how you understand how you operate in groups, and how, you know, soul family and groupthink as well, right? That groupthink that can block our capacity to know, okay, I am worthy of committed, integral, one-on-one relationships in my life. Diana, you may have gone through a cycle of like, that's never going to be possible, right? Say you don't live near any of your friends and you're now like hanging out in a bigger group and you're not quite meshing and you're feeling like, oh, why? I need a solid connection. That Jupiter retrograde will be sort of shaking you up in order to, oh, there we go. Hi. Reaping the benefits from your 10th house. Right, so letting go of groupthink around what does one-on-one relationships look like, right? We're getting out of the conventional reality with a lot of the astrology this year. And harnessing our understanding of our own reality and then manifesting it. Reaping the benefits from the 10th house. So this might be about not putting in all the work in terms of your life path, your career, not getting the one-on-one clients, not feeling that connection in the way that is seeing, you know, the benefits come in, except internally, right? So you're not necessarily seeing it outwardly. For some of you, life path is about establishing a stronger connection with one-on-one, right? That can be a very powerful transmuter of our evolution when we have healthy relationships. You know, I'll give you that example. I'm hanging out with an Aquarius rising. We are doing a group thing where we are going inward and clearing energy in our body that's allowing for attunement. You might find with this, you know, especially if you work one-on-one with people in terms of a business way, with this unfolding, there's going to be more access to you imparting your truth to groups, right? The group, more people connecting to what it is that you bring to the table. Otoela dianimo shalema diatum matatanema enama otoela dianima or shana. So even though that Jupiter retrograde is imprinted into this moon, right? So it's really going to, one core thing I really see is a new energy, an evolved energy coming in around your relationship with Source that is allowing you to question the limiting beliefs around the themes of the 11th and dissolve them and see a deeper wisdom within them and move beyond those limiting beliefs. I find the 11th house is very much about the blocks there, right, of receiving from your career and life path. You're being received in groups, connecting to groups. Receiving the manifestation of your hopes and dreams can be blocked from your own sense of value, and often that can be because of certain one-on-one relationships in your life. Interesting. That came up for Aquarius and the collective reading. That it may have distorted your sense of being able to receive, right? And being worthy of that. Dianima o janima o toenima dianima o toela. Dishalama doelama dianima do fala dianima. And this very much feels like an revelation above that, away from that. Dianimo, itianimo, tuela, di shenima, shenima, diastofania, dianimo, tofala. Right, so we've got the cards. I'll just say one more thing in terms of the astrology, that Saturn rules Aquarius in the Hellenistic principles, which is what I work with from over 2,000 years ago. I've seen it show up in my own practice. I only apply things that I see work. That Saturn's over in Pisces, which is about your relationship dynamics, right? It's your relationship, it's the resources from source, the resources from the outside world, the exchange between you and anything other than yourself, right? And so you may your relationship dynamic with source, the resources from source, relationships with others. We can have scarcity, codependency, hyper independence, greed, all of that kind of stuff where we're out of balance. You're going through a massive transit of that coming back into harmony, of dissolving distorted relationship dynamics, this sense of scarcity, of letting go and trusting that source is bringing towards you relationships that are serving this upgrade, right? This universal truth that you're getting back to, of stripping away those sort of, say you've been in a romantic relationship, a committed one, and it messed you up, and you then, the next one did the same thing, and then you've kind of got this fixed belief about how the other interacts with you and how you interact with the other. This moon very much feels like a dissolving of that, because Saturn is near Neptune, the North Node's near Neptune, a dissolving of those things that's bringing in this higher love, this higher magic, right? Both with source and with the outside world. So that is influencing your 7th house. But Jupiter rules Pisces. So we're then going back to your hopes and dreams, right? Of pushing into a new space of your hopes of dreams, right? A real refinement of them. That's, you know, your inner frequency is then going to be activated to intuitively guide you in the right direction around those things, of being connected to soul family, connected to groups, reaping the rewards from the work that you've been doing in your path. Remember that scarcity complex that Saturn's sort of dissolving. Now, Mercury rules Jupiter. Mercury's over in Aquarius. And so we've got this feedback loop between Mercury, Saturn, and Jupiter. Mercury, how we perceive, understand, collect information of our environment, how we piece things, the details together. Saturn, maturity, commitment, integrity to your legacy. Jupiter, faith, wisdom, abundance, elevation, opportunities, generosity of spirit, the bigger picture of it all. We are aligning how we perceive reality that serves our long-term goals. Right, let's get into this. Is the universal truth that you are downloading, that has always been within you, and this moon is helping you activate and bring that resource up from your rooted power of what Pluto's up to into your vessel. And so with Mercury, we have transition. The frequency of transition supports our deep understanding of the ever-changing nature of existence and our lives, so that we can learn to let go, surrender to the process, and allow transition to occur with ease and grace. This is pretty much summing up 1, Pluto, and 2, everything that's going on with the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo. Cannot recommend that transit series enough. It is, I've seen it show up so loudly, and the more that I work with what came through with all of that, the more it then magnifies. And it's a powerhouse of a transit, and I don't really want to go into it too much because I'm trying to keep these shorter. And I'm very aware it's a lot of content, but the resonance of it, I want to share. I want to say, go listen, go watch it, right? It's powerful. After I'd finished the 3-part series for the collective energy of the Pisces, Virgo, North Node, South Node, I then later on in the evening, a video came up on my newsfeed on YouTube. And I clicked on it, and and there were some word for word phrases that I'd used in those collective readings. in that video, basically communicating everything that I'd expressed in those back to me. And it was like, whoa, I've not had that kind of experience after doing a reading quite so obviously and quite so loudly. Okay, so with ease and grace, right? We're not here to push, we're here to surrender and move from a place of flow rather than resistance. Transition can be described as the passage from one stage to another. However deeply or mildly it impacts our lives, transitions always imply change of some sort, and most of us are afraid of change. We want things to stay the same. We want to stay in the comfort zone we've created. Unfortunately, change is one certainty in life that we can all count on. Change is necessary to allow room for the new to emerge and the old to pass. Change is necessary for growth to occur. Change is a fundamental universal law. I talk about that a lot I bring in Hermetic principles into the collective reading. This is so on the money. Transitions describe this process of change, a time when things are moving, morphing and shifting. And in the midst of this process, it's common for nothing to feel clear, comfortable or safe. Being pushed and pulled from our existing state into one that is unfamiliar isn't easy. And the most feared transition of all is one we face eventually, death. The transition from our physical body to the world of spirit. Because we have so little understanding of the true nature of our existence, just having to cough. I'm gonna have to pause and cough because I've got a tickle coming up, which at the moment, because we're dealing with Mercury here, is clearing throat chakra stuff. Sorry about that, my love, right? So it's like clearing blockages to be able to perceive this new reality. Atoela diapo fala dishenimo toela dianima dianimo toela dishinia. Being pushed and pulled. Oh, right, I did that one. Transition from our physical bodies to the world of spirit. Because we have so little understanding of the true nature of existence, of our existence, and of our connection to the cosmos, we tend to fear death as a perceived ending. As in this activation, the snake is a traditional symbol for death and transition in many cultures. It is the year of the wood snake. Talk about that in part 1 of this collective transit. And belief systems due to its perceived ability to be reborn many times during its lifetime by shedding its skin. Behind it, the background shows not only the grid of the flower of life, the connection with the earth plane, but also the Merkaba, a reference to our existential ability. No, existential ability to traverse between layers. I don't think that word relates to that. Between layers of time and dimension. The colours indigo, violet and magenta are indications of our deep spiritual connection to the cosmos and the whole of existence, making any transition but a moment in ongoing infinite journey. This is that kind of mutable Jupiter energy going on, right, in the sign of Gemini, that is helping the fixed energy be in a state of total awareness of change, right? Be in a very fluid connection. There's protection with the Merkaba, there's connection to Gaia of what you're letting go of in this frequency is allowing you to be in a constant state of evolution, which means you're going to be in relationship to the source energy that shows up in the 7th of a really direct, it's like a cord that is sending you energy that allows this shedding of the skin, right? And getting back to your universal truth that as this moves forwards, you're going to go deeper and deeper and deeper, and the skin is going to keep shedding and shedding and shedding to the point where it's almost like you're in phoenix mode, Itala diala diale moduela, where it's not disarming anymore, where it's not shaking you up. It is the awareness and the unfoldment of the ever-changing existing when it comes to that dynamic with others, right? And the dynamic with source that is going to be so profound in your relationships, right? And you think your dynamics, your hopes and dreams of things aren't rigid and stuck anymore when it comes to, say, you want more clients and they just don't show up. Say you want a healthy relationship with your business partner, more intimate friends, a long-term committed relationship. Those are all going to be open to evolutionary growth, right? I'm a big fan of co-creation. of two individuals coming together to co-create, to be in awareness of that evolutionary state, that we're here to shift and change on our own and combine together. And this very much feels like that sort of more higher consciousness relationship understanding. Right. Powerful stuff. My third eye's throbbing. So we then have Lady Venus. Downloads and understanding, truth is being revealed. Deep insights are coming from heaven and the astral realm. Going in with that transition card of what you're activating here is a very powerful, deep change within yourself when it comes to the other. That is, and I love the Venus energy, that sense of connection, that sense of love, that sense of harmony, showing up with the other. Perhaps you've lived a life where it's never felt safe. The other has never felt safe. Even if you've had those good moments and those good times, there's still a part of that energy of like, it's going to disappear, right? It's going to change in ways that I'm unstable. I feel it makes me feel unstable. And so we can run away from that kind of knowing that we are worthy of Lady Venus showing up in our relationships. Lady Venus is the twin flame of Sanat Kumar and is said to reside in the astral realm surrounding the planet Venus. The light beings of Venus, known as the Venusians, are now coming to lightworkers on Earth to help them understand with their connections, understanding and capacity to share divine love. Lady Venus is a wonderful keeper of the light to call on when you are trying to forge a connection with the heavens or finding it difficult to understand the signs, symbols, and guidance that are being sent to you physically or through meditation. She also allows us to connect with or focus on particular energies so we can understand them more. If you are studying spiritual subjects at this time, call on Lady Venus to help you. Hearing high-pitched noises, seeing flickers of light, and having the sense that beings are visiting you in your sleep are all signs when you are receiving downloads from heaven. Whenever this is happening, spend some time in contemplation so that you can ask the universe what you really need to know. This card also represents downloads of information being received by your mind. Know that the universe sees you as capable of holding soul-centered information that will help you and others reach a new level of understanding. I can see some of you in terms of the work energy, right? Of you having this higher connection to source, right? And the downloads. You're shedding resistance to all of that. Blockages of expecting the same kind of dynamic to show up all the time, as well as being really open moving forward to constantly evolving, and that not being a drama anymore. But in terms of like that sort of the work side of it, of clients and bigger groups and reaping the benefits from your 10th house, I can definitely see you acting as a vessel to pass these downloads on, which is probably why my third eye is freaking out. Not freaking out, she's just throbbing. We can be really resistant to change, right? Of that dynamic. So the challenge. The challenge is the Two of Pentacles in reverse. So the Two of Pentacles in the upright for me is the hamster on the wheel, the survival mode, right? The balancing act of existence, of all the things, right? Roof over the head, food in your belly, cannot think beyond survival, right? And so there's this element of the old relationships that you've had, whether that's with source or with others, have come from a place of survival, almost, and I feel called to say this word, a place of desperation, right? So if you think about that need, that deep need within us all to connect and be seen, especially the Leo energy, right? We can claw at the other. We can be like, this will fix me. Hitting the third eye. They've just got this, my other hand, like as a sort of channel of the energy over this universe card, and she's got the flower of life at the third eye. And they've now got that there at the third eye, so they're drawing that energy from the universe to get us out of a survival mode energy when it comes to the other. Survival around clients. I need clients. I need this kind of connection, right? I need these things. So the challenge is to realize, not anymore. That's not the vibe anymore. Oh God, that was terrible. But we're not here to be perfect. That's what the South Node in Virgo is doing for us. So this is it, of getting out of that hamster wheel, getting out of that survival mode. We can be resistant, right? I said we're resistant to change, and the response we got from the energies was like, whew, ding, 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 of that survival mode. And operating with the other from a place of survival, right, rather than thriving. And you know, that's opening up the heart space in such a way of being able to give love without the wounds, right, of whether we're getting it back, whether we're being seen, whether we're being received or not. Is how do you show up, right? Are you going to let that be diminished by a survival mechanism? Right, let's see how to work with that. We've got the world. Hello, Saturn. Know thyself and the world will open up to you. So this might be about going really inward, pulling back the layers of the conditioning that has induced this, right? And come back to the world. Come back to yourself, your deep, true self, your soul self, your source self. She's floating in the sky, right? Of this real sense of, when you pull back the conditioning, be open to the being stripped bare by this shedding of the snake energy. It's going to reveal to you your freedom, right? Your lightness of being, and the world is going to open up for you. Right. How to work with this activation. We got the 10 of Wands, the 4 in reverse, the 4 of Cups in reverse, and the 2 of Wands. This showed up for Aquarius and the collective reading, the 2 of Wands. So they're really saying you've got to let go of certain ideologies, right? The burden of it all, always feeling like you're doing all the work, perhaps with the other, the weight of it, right? The responsibility, the heaviness of it all, very karmic card of carrying the weight from our ancestors and our past life energy, of never quite getting home, never quite getting to the finish line, right? And that can be in terms of like commitment, right? Of that integrity that shows up in the 7th house. It's also not being able to enjoy the journey, right? They cannot see it's a beautiful day. They're hunched over. The spine is hunched over. That's a Leo energy, right? Leo rules the spine. And we want to sit up tall and straight and not feel like, oh, this is a weight, this is a burden, right? So it's in reverse. And this is saying, with the 4 of Cups, which is also in the reverse, and the 4 of Cups is comparison is the thief of joy. Looking at this 3 of Cups, but not really doing anything about it. It's a bit of a depressive mode, right? We've all been there. I've certainly been there for most of my life. Crossed arms, crossed legs, resistance. Also looking at other people's lives, they got all the clients, they've got a strong connection with source, they're in that happy, committed, romantic relationship, they got all the friends, right? They got the joy, they got the abundance, and looking at that and being like, I don't have that, and then being kind of losing your joy because of it, being a bit sort of maybe a bit critical of those who do, because you're trying to feel better about yourself, right? This is in reverse. These are both in reverse, because the universe is letting you know we are not in this space anymore, but they want you to focus on these cards, this energy being in reverse in your life, and they want you to get the lay of the land, right? So remember, it's a new moon, it takes 6 months to unfold. That this is all about, you're in a good position. The universe wants you to know you're in a good position. This figure is standing on a castle, right? But they know they need to observe the new reality. They need to understand the ecosystem of energy around them. So this is you observing the new reality, okay? And learning about it, growing with it, with the mindset that these are in the reverse, right? So we're not looking for these in the upright, right? We are helping transition this energy. It's being transitioned, but they're saying, focus on where you're headed, not what's happened in the past. Focus on, what does the Leo heart want? What do your instincts truly want? Where have they been blocked when these have been upright? And how do we get back to that truth of self? You might want to do visualizations around your snake skin shedding. This is so linked into the new lunar year. It's very powerful, right? Of a big new lunar energy, right? Of our emotional body, whether our needs are being met or not. We've closed out a year-long cycle. We're activating a new one. The burden of your hopes and dreams not manifesting. Relationship dynamics always being difficult. Everybody else, getting on better. All of that kind of stuff. We're not focusing on the problem. We're focusing on the awareness that a new frequency, a new reality is around us. Notice, get real deep into the details of what your body's telling you, what your instincts are telling you, beyond the jaded, restricted, limiting beliefs. Because as I said, long-term manifestation card, the more that you do that, the more it's going to magnify this frequency. Remember, Lady Venus, so appropriate for the 7th. She's over in your 8th house of relationship dynamics. She wants to draw in more soul-orientated connections for you. Just taken up to the 3rd eye, and my mouth back to her mouth. Back to my heart. Back to her heart. Shining back to the heart again. To the throat. To the crown, back to the world, Itanima, back to you, bottom of the deck, root energy, you being in your power, right? So this is the root energy of this intention. So this is your sovereign energy, the I am of it all, right? Knowing your own divinity, knowing your own value, your own worth, your own wisdom. Also being very open to listening to what everybody else has to say, because the emperor rules the empire. A good emperor doesn't surround itself by yes people, right? So this is this capacity to be your unique self, your individual self. Show up with that spark of life, that spark of spirit, not being defined and confined by old experiences, by others' interactions in a way that negatively distorts your own frequency. Your power is coming through, right? This sovereignty with the other. And it's drawing towards you that which matches this power energy, right? We've got the Ankh. You got this. This is powerful. This is good. I'm here for it. You know, Aries very kind of, I'm just going to do the thing, right? So it's rather than, oh, I've done that thing before and I've got hurt, right? I'm going to chase this because it will fix me. Aries isn't looking for anybody else to fix them. That's where the power comes from. Right, I'm going to leave it there, my lovely Leos. As I said at the beginning, from tomorrow to the Leo full moon, all readings will be 50% off. So check out my website or email me directly to take me up on that offer. Leo, be good to yourselves, be good to those around you, safe travels, and be well until we meet again.